Hello everyone and welcome to my first playthrough video of the Hunters, the C3i Expansion Pack. So we're gonna start off, as you know, the C3i Expansion Pack, as I showed in my preview, has two different new kind of submarines. They have the historical type UA, which is a submarine that was being built for Turkey, but as the war started, it was seized by the Kriegsmarine. So this is the type UA, which was meant to be a mine delivery submarine, but it was actually mainly used for just like an IX. So we'll just simply start off by quickly reading the rules regarding the UA. Treat the UA as a type IX for patrol assignment and patrol length. If it does receive mine laying mission, however, it does not reduce its torpedo load as the mines are stored in their own section, similar to the type VIID in the game. So the really cool thing about this ship is that, first of all, there's no limit to your torpedoes. You can have how many steams you want. There is no limit according to the game table anyway. Historically, I cannot answer that. Also, like we just read, in case we have a mine mission, we don't have to decrease our torpedo load. And you can also see that we have a really big torpedo load. We have 2 aft torpedo tubes and 2 in the reloads. And then we have 4 torpedoes in the forward torpedo tubes and 14 in our reserve. So that's pretty great. We have 5 deck gun ammunition, and we have the 10.5 centimeter gun, which is going to give us a good modifier when we're rolling on the attack damage chart. The 105 mil give you a -1, so that means that we will do 2 damage if we roll a 1 or a 2. And usually, if you have the normal deck gun, it's only going to be 2 damage on a roll of 1. So the deck gun is also a power-up. So that's a really great ship. You can get a lot of kills. You can definitely get a high rank if you play this right. We are going to play it a little bit defensively because I'm hoping to make it to the end of June 1943, so that we can bring this bad boy into the Hunted. But we'll see how it goes, because even if you if you play defensively sometimes, well, you get it anyway. So we're gonna fill out our patrol log sheet. So type UA. We are going to use all of the optional rules because I kind of like them and I like how they expand on the game. We're going to use the optional rules for taking evasive maneuvers. We're going to use the optional rule for different kind of quality on escorts and aircraft, and that actually makes the game harder, that optional rules, but hopefully we'll do fine. And then we're going to use the optional rule also for what do you call it, to have a resupply at sea. And I like those optional rules, so I hope you will like them as well. Commandant here is going to be yours truly. Okay, I can't. Niemi. Very beautiful. And we're going to go ahead and start by rolling on the starting rank. So on a 1 to 2, we are Oberleutnant, and on a 3 to 6, we're going to be Kapitän Lieutenant. And we roll a 5, so we're going to be Kapitän Lieutenant. Let's see if we can find that. Here we go. So we'll put that on our rank box. Our crew starts at trained. Our ship marker starts on the side which just says April 1940. The other side has the Schnorkel update, and that's not going to be relevant before you get into the Hunted. So I actually don't know quite what that means because I haven't personally played the Hunted. I have contacted GMT, which have said they're going to send me a review copy. Thank you very much. So once I get that, I hope to take this bad boy into the Hunted. Anyway, we're going to go ahead now. We are in April 1940. That's when this ship becomes available. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is to roll, since we are starting at rank 2, we get to roll to see if we get to decide our U-Boot patrol assignment, but only on a roll of 1. And we roll a 4, so we do not get to choose our U-Boot patrol assignment. So we roll 2d6 on the U-Boot patrol assignment board, 1940. So it's 1940 April to June. And we roll 5. So 5 means we're going to the British Isles, and there's actually going to be a mine laying mission. So we note that over here. Let's see, where are we? British Isles. Okay, and we transfer our ship here. Let's see, British Isles, transit. And we go ahead and take our mines. And as you know, if you play the Hunters, the mines are annoying because they get rid of, you know, your forward and aft torpedo tubes. But here we simply, I mean, we actually don't have to use all of the counters. It's just for fun that I'm doing it. But you could just put one there. But I find it more. It feels better to put all of them there. All right, and another annoying thing with the mine laying mission is that, of course, we're going to have some trouble with possibly aircraft and so on. But let's take that if we get there. First, we start off at the transit, and we roll on the transit box in the encounter chart. And remember, that's it's not before June 1940, I believe it is, that we actually start to roll for the Bay of Biscay in the first and last transit box. So this is treated just like a normal transit box. Roll 2d6 on the encounter chart, and 7 is nothing. Go to the next transit box, roll 2d6, and roll 9, and again 9 is nothing. And then we go now to our special mission. So now we need to deliver those mines. And we look at the encounter chart, and we look at Bay of Biscay / special mission. Let's see if we have any nasty modifiers. I thought there would be a modifier for actually delivering mines, but there is not. The only modifiers for the special mission is if you're in 1942 or 1943. So we go ahead and roll 2d6. And we roll 7, so that's nothing. So we are lucky. We have successfully delivered our mines to the British Isles, and that actually now we don't really have to sink any ships unless we want to, because the mission is, of course, now completed with delivering of those mines. So we go into the next transit box. So we now roll 2d6 again on the encounter chart, but we roll for the British Isles now. And we roll a 6, so we look here, and 6 in the British Isles is a ship plus escort. So we start by rolling for the size of the ship, and the ship is a tanker. And now I'm going to see if it's day or night, and it's going to be daytime. And usually I don't engage ships during daytime, because I use my steam torpedoes, and they give you a nasty die roll modifier for the escort detection chart. So before I roll for identification of the tanker, before I roll for escort quality, I will try to attempt to switch to night instead. And the reason why I do that is to save time, because it's, you know, a waste to spend time rolling for identity of the ship, escort quality, and then you try to attempt to switch to night and you fail, and you have done all of that in vain. If I find a large freighter, I always roll for identity, and the reason why I do that is because I want to get number 34, which is the Empress of Britain with 42,300 ton. But anyway, we will attempt to switch to night first, and we will be able to do so on a roll of 1 to 4. If we roll 5 to 6, we have lost the ship. And we roll a 3, so we have managed to change to night. So now we go ahead and roll to see which tanker it is. We roll 2d6, and the black one is the 10s. So we have rolled 97 on the tanker roster. So we look at the tanker target roster. 97 is going to be San Demetrio, or 8,100. 97, 8,100. A pretty decent target, I would say. Yes, we know that we are at night. We know that we have an escort. We are going to go ahead and attack from an surfaced position. And we're going to go ahead and attack from medium range. And let's see, we want to send away all of our forward torpedo tubes. And we also know that we have a large freighter. This specific large freighter does not have over 10,000 tonnage, so it only requires free damage to sink it. Alright, so we take our 2d10 and we roll on the U-Boot torpedo deck gun fire chart. So we have a few modifiers here. First of all, we're at medium range. That means we're going to hit on a 7 or less. But we have one modifier here, and that is that we're doing a night or unescorted surface torpedo attack. So that's going to give us a -1. So we will actually hit on a roll of 8 or lower. Let's see, I should roll 2d6 actually. And I roll 7, so the first one is a hit. And next one. I roll 6, so we have another hit. Third one, we roll 9, so unfortunately that is a miss. And then on the last attempt, we roll 8. So that is thankfully to our modifier, which is from the night surface torpedo attack. The third one is also a hit. Now we need to check on the torpedo dud chart. We're at 940, so there's going to be a dud on a roll of 1 to 2. So we roll for all 3 at the same time. And we have 1 dud. So the other 2 torpedoes are they are hits and they aren't duds. So we go ahead and roll for them on the attack damage chart with 1d6. We roll for both of them at the same time. And we roll 5 and 2. And we have no modifiers here. The 5 is going to be 1 damage, 4 or more, and the 2 is going to be 3 damage. So we have totally done 4 damage to the large freighter that only required us to do 3 damage. So the large freighter is sunk. We remove our torpedoes. Now we need to roll on escort detection, but before we do so, we need to roll on the for the optional rules for variable escort aircraft quality. So go ahead and roll 1d6 and roll a 6, and that's the worst number that we can get when rolling for this. That means the escort is a veteran, and let's see where I have that. The escort is a veteran, meaning that he will get +1 hit if he manages to detect us. Okay, so we go ahead now and roll for escort detection chart. And 8 or less, we are undetected, but we have a positive modifier here. Actually, we don't. I thought we might have fired from long range, but we didn't. Note here that usually I do exceed test depth, but you cannot do that the first turn of escort detection if you do a surfaced torpedo attack. So basically I cannot exceed test depth now. Let's see, long range, I fire from medium range, so that's not going to be valid. We see here that we have night surface attack +1. That's only from 941 and forward. So that's why I'm using the night surface attack now, and most likely I will not do that in 941 and later. Okay, so we go ahead and roll now 2d6. Again, 8 or less, we are undetected. And we roll an 8, so we barely make it out of there without being detected. We note that we managed to sink the large tanker, which is named San Demetrio, for 8,100 ton. And we go ahead and reload our torpedo tubes for next attempt at combat. Okay, so we go to the next box of the British Isles, and what I like to do here is actually I like to take a d6 and put just a 1, because you can see that during these two last boxes, or actually not the last, but these two specific boxes, you will check for encounters 2 times. And if you have a really intense battle, it's very easy to forget, okay, did I check battle once or did I do it twice? But now we will check for the first. So we roll 2d6 on our encounter chart. And we roll 5, and I believe 5 is, yes, that's an unescorted ship. Very nice. Okay, I should let that remain. So what we're going to do now is to roll, first of all, for ship size. And we have another tanker. We roll two of our d10s. We have tanker number 55. Go ahead and look at our tanker target roster. 55 is the Fern for 6,600. Fern. 6,600. You don't need to roll for day or night. We roll 3, that's going to be day. You can do it if you want to. I like to do it just to have like a mental picture of what's going on, but since it's an unescorted ship, it doesn't really do any change. We fire from close range while surfaced at the day. We have a tanker. Actually, I used the large freighter counter in the last encounter, but it should have been a tanker, but of course that doesn't matter either. I could have used a penny as long as we know what it is. All right, so now since it's unescorted, I get to fire all of my weapons. I'm gonna start off with my aft torpedo tubes, so I'll fire those 2. I like to, no, actually I'm gonna go ahead and start with my deck gun. So I'll fire 2 shots from my deck gun, and we go ahead and look at the U-Boat torpedo deck gun fire chart. Close range, we need an 8 or less. Take note of the die roll modifier night or unescorted surface torpedo attack, but this is not a torpedo attack, so that doesn't regard us. So we do need an 8 or less to hit. First is a 7, so we hit. Last one is a 5, so we hit. The great thing with the deck gun is that we don't have to roll for any torpedo duds, so we just go ahead and roll for both of these hits now on the attack damage chart. And we roll 6 and 2, and that's a very good roll because that's actually going to take that tanker out. The 6 is going to be 1 damage. And then the 2, since we have the 105mm deck gun, that 2 turns into a 1. And that means we have 2 damage with that one. So bam, bam, and that's the tanker sunk. So the tanker is sunk, and mark off yet another kill. Very nice. So I just turned my d6 there to a 2 to remember that's the last time to roll for encounters in that box. Roll 2d6, we get 6. That should be a ship plus an escort. So you know the deal. I like to roll first of size of ship. It's another tanker. Then we roll for time of day. We have night time. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So we go ahead and roll to identify the tanker with 2d10. And we roll 31. 31 is the Torinia, so that's 10,000. So that's going to be a 4 hit point ship, so that's going to be a little bit harder to sink. So first of all, we know that we have an escort. It's a night attack. We're going to attack from surface position from medium range. And I'm just going to do like I did before, 4 torpedoes, because this early in the war, the torpedoes aren't that effective. So you might as well go ahead and fire all of them, because there's usually a lot of duds. Okay, let's see. So I'm not forgetting anything. We have a tanker who has 4 hit points this time. Okay, so we go ahead and roll now for our torpedoes on the U-Boat torpedo deck gun chart with 2d6. We are at medium range, 7 or less, but we are conducting a night surface torpedo attack with a -1. So effectively, we need to roll an 8 or lower. And I can tell you it's a 7, so you have to believe me. I'll see if I can get this one out. Yes, 7. Right, And then we go ahead. I have to glue this this dice tower. I haven't gotten around to it yet. First one is a hit. Second one is unfortunately a miss. Third attempt is a hit. Very nice hit. And the third and last is also a hit. So we have 3 hits, and now we need to roll for duds. So I'll borrow this black one. It's going to be a dud on a roll of 1 to 2. And we have 1 dud. Okay, that's not too bad. So then we go ahead and roll for those 2 hits, which aren't duds, for the damage on the attack damage chart. Oof, that's a bad roll. That's 5, so 4 or more. So we basically do 2 damage to the tanker. I would have hoped for more. Alright, so now we go ahead and roll for escort detection, but before we do that, we roll for quality of the escort, and we roll 5. So 5 is going to go ahead and be a trained one. So a trained escort, let's see, I have them over here. A trained escort actually is just an escort which has no modifiers at all. So we roll on escort detection chart. He is gonna detect us on an 8 or less. Sorry, 8 or 9 or higher. And we roll 11, unfortunately, so that means we are indeed detected. So now we go ahead and roll for escort air attack chart to see how many hits he manages to get on us. And we roll 5, so that is gonna be 1 hit. Now I need to borrow this black die to see what he hits. 43, and we'll look at the U-boat damage chart. 43 is flooding. That's not too bad. And then we have dealt that hit, so we roll actually again to see if we manage to stop the flooding or if it gets worse. And I want to remember that on a roll of 1 to 4, flooding is stopped, but on a roll of, yes, it says right here, and on a 5 to 6, you actually take an additional flooding. All right, so now we can, if we want to, exceed the test depth and take 1 whole damage, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait to see if we can't get out of this. We roll again. Now we have a nasty modifier, which is previously detected. So on a roll of 8 or higher, now we are detected. On a roll of 7 or less, we are undetected. And roll 8, unfortunately, so perhaps I should have rolled for that exceeding test depth, but well, you know, you can't win if you don't gamble. So now we roll to see how many hits we get, and we get 5, which is 1 hit yet again. So roll to see what he does. 46 on the U-boat damage chart. That is the 2 centimeter flak gun. So we go ahead and take a damage. So that's not good in case we run into airplanes, but it could definitely have been worse as well. Okay, so now the question is, do I want to exceed test depth or do I want to gamble again? He hasn't damaged anything. Before he damaged my hull, actually, I think I'm going to wait off with that because it's, for me, vital to get a lot of kills early on to get the promotions. So I'm going to go ahead and roll again for escort detection. And we roll 8 yet again, so yet again he detects us. So we roll to see how many hits. 10. Ooh, that is going to be 3 hits this time. So first hit is 52, which is going to be the hull. So I should have exceeded test depth, but that's easy to know now. 53, which is crew injury. So we go ahead and look at our crew injury chart and roll 2d6. And we roll 6, which is the generic crew, and we roll 1d6. That's a severe wound. So we take a severe wound marker and put on the first crew box. And 1 more hit to deal. Let me turn this chart. And we roll 42. 42 is going to be the radio. So we'll take the radio damage marker and put over, let's see here. And I'll have to see what the radio actually does because I cannot remember. Radio, apply +4 modifier if inoperable for crew rescue. Okay, so that's not really something that affects us now. Okay, so now I'm definitely gonna go ahead and exceed test depth. So I'll take another hull damage. I have to roll the 2d6 now. If it's less than the hull damage, which would be 1, which is currently impossible, you are sunk. But if it's the same, which would be snake eyes, so a 2, you take 1 additional hull damage and roll again. Okay, bad news, guys. We'll try it again. And roll 6, so we have effectively exceeded test depth. That's bad. And taking another hull damage, but hopefully we get away now. So we roll now again on the escort detection chart, 8 or less, but that becomes 7 or less because we are previously detected, but that becomes 8 or less because we have +1 to our roll, -1 to our roll for exceeding test depth. Oops. And we roll 7. Okay, we made it, guys. And exceeding test depth was definitely the right decision. Okay, so now the question is, do I wanna keep firing at the tanker, because the tanker still does still have the escort, or most likely, because you roll a d6 and on a roll of 1 to 4, it's still escorted. On a roll of 5 to 6, it becomes unescorted. Okay, so we'll roll to see. We will follow. And it's a 1 to 3, so that means it's still escorted. We reload our torpedo tubes like that. And we go ahead and send them all towards this tanker. Okay, I rolled 2d6 for my 4 torpedoes. And first one would roll 11, so that is definitely a miss. Second one is a hit. And that is a hit. Remember, we have the -1 because we're doing a surfaced attack. And the last one is also a hit. Now we roll for all 3 of these to see if they are any duds. And we do have 1 dud. Now it's automatically sunk because these are going to be hits, and you can do minimum 1 damage, and he has 2 hits and he has 2 hit points left. But we'll roll just to see for flavor. So the 1 is just 1 damage, but the 3, that's going to be 2 damage. We do a total of 3 damage. So the tanker is definitely sunk. But now we have some problems, because now we have the escort coming at us again, and we have still the negative modifier here that we have fired at, that we have been previously detected. So now we need 7 or less to not be detected. And we're all snake eyes. Yes. Okay, I was a little bit worried because we still, we did have the whole damage, but we made it. And we roll to see now if we can repair our damaged flak. The flak on a roll of 1 to 2, it's fixed. We roll 4, so that means it's inoperable. And then we roll for the radio, and the radio will be repaired on a roll of 1 to 2. We roll a 5, so the radio is unfortunately also inoperable. We have sank a 3rd ship now for 10,000 ton. That's pretty good. And that was the 2nd encounter of that box. So we go now to the 1st encounter of the next box. And we go ahead and roll 2d6. And roll 8. And 8 in the British Isles is a ship without any escort. So the ship size is going to be small. Day of time is going to be day. We don't bother to try to change the day of the time of day. We roll now to see identity, and we roll 13. 13 is Stanholm for 2,500. Not very impressive. $2,500. So we have daytime. We're firing from surfaced. We're firing from close range, and we have a small freighter with 2 hit points. We go ahead and fire our deck gun, 2 shots, and we go ahead and look at our U-boat torpedo deck gun chart. So we need an 8 or lower at close range. And we roll 3, so the first is a hit. And then we roll 6, so the second one is also a hit. So he's automatically sunk, but we'll roll for damage just because it's fun. And we roll, that's 1 damage, and the 2 with the modifier, that's gonna be 2 damage. We do a total of 3 damage. So this guy is definitely sunk. And we managed to sink the Star Home for 2,500. We roll for the last encounter in that travel box. And we roll 4. 4 in the British Isles is unfortunately nothing. So that is the last of that box. We go to the last British Isles box and see if we can find one last ship perhaps. And we roll a 4, and as you remember, 4 unfortunately is nothing. So that's the end of the mission. We roll now to see if we can resupply. Resupply is going to happen on a roll of 1 or lower, but actually I think maybe I will skip that this turn just because I do have some nasty damage, and if I get one more inoperable system, that's just going to add 1 month to the refit and so on. The same with the hull, it's at 1 month extra right now, so I don't see resupply now as actually being, even if I get it, I don't see it as a good option. So go ahead and go to the transit box and skip the resupply for this patrol. And roll on the transit encounter charts. Oof, close call. Looks like it was going to be Snake Eyes, but we rolled 9, so that's nothing. We go to the last transit box. And we roll 4. Very close to an aircraft, but nope. And we are back currently now in port in Germany. So let's evaluate our mission here, our patrol. First of all, the patrol, just like the IX, you have 2 months of patrol, so you just add a simple P. And then you have the standard month of refit, which also will repair up to 2 inoperable systems for free. So we don't get any extra month for that, so that's pretty cool. But unfortunately, we do have hull damage. This should have been resetted before. We do have hull damage, free hull damage, which adds 1 month of refit. So we totally have 2 months of refit. Okay, so let's see how many tonnage we sunk. Now I gotta do math in my head, and that usually doesn't end up well. But we have 10,000. Okay, let's do it simple for me. Let's do the thousands in one, and then the 100s in one. Maybe I will not mess up then. Okay, so we have 8,000, 14,000, 24,000, 26,000, 26,500, 27,100, 27,200, I believe. 27,200. Let me try to do that again. 10,000, 18,100, 20,600, 27,200. Yes, should be 20,200, and that is definitely a successful mission. So I like to do an S and F if I fail, because remember, every 3rd successful mission you get to roll for crew advance, and if you fail 3 missions in a row, you are sent to the Eastern Front. Definitely a successful mission. I'm very happy with the tonnage, 27,200. Of course, could have been more, but could have been substantially less. You have to remember that we also actually, we did leave off a bunch of mines in the first travel box. So that there is that. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me for this. These guys are repaired their sent to the hospital, and we get some new crew. Thank you so much for joining me for my first mission here with the Type UA, which is part of the C3i mini expansion for the Hunters. I hope you join me for next battle as well, because of course we're gonna do just like we'll do it like Patton's Best. We'll do each episode is gonna consist of 1 patrol. That way the videos will not be 3 and 4 hours long, and I think it's going to be a little bit more fun to watch them. Okay, thank you so much for joining. If you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. And also, give me a comment. What do you think of the mission? Did we succeed? Should I have done something differently? And most of all, did I mess up some rule? Because sometimes that happens, because I have to focus on the lighting, on the frame, on the video, on the sound. So there is a lot of things that I have in the back of my mind besides the game rules. So if you saw me do any error, please let us know so I don't teach new gamers to make these mistakes that I might have made. Okay, see you next time. Bye.